I became interested in Dawson Church after reading an article he wrote called Personal Disarmament. It seems that if there were ever a time to disarm, it would be now, and not just for governments, but for individuals. According to Dawson, the key is to do whatever is necessary to interrupt the auto-programmed response we each have when our sensitivities are pushed. In the end, he says, it's up to every individual to take responsibility for diffusing our own hot buttons before this can reflect out to the world at large.
Yeah, it takes only a small number of people before radical social change occurs. The example I give as well there is that when I first came to the US 30 years ago, the Soviet Union and the US were poised on the brink of a nuclear war. Yuri Andropov, head of the Politburo, and Ronald Reagan were, I mean, they were bitter enemies. Andropov cut, most of us have a phone line in our home. And we also have an internet connection. We have two phone lines. Andropov cut all the phone lines between the USSR and the USA, except for two. There were two lines available between the two countries. Cut most communication, cut most cultural contacts. So we had these two belligerent people. They couldn't even talk to each other. Terrible situation. And I watched as the whole society went from this terrible state of threat and mutually assured destruction to, I felt as though somehow as a human race, we decided not to blow ourselves up at that moment. It took people, took a few people marching, protesting, offering alternatives. It took people, I actually flew with a medical team to Russia. We just wanted to talk to people. We said, there are no official contacts going on. We will fly out there, we will meet with a neurosurgeon, we'll meet with doctors. We will form person-to-person contacts to build these bridges. And guess what? After about 10 years, the Soviet Union had begun to crumble, partly as a result of huge social mind change. So these huge mind changes do occur, and it is possible for society. I mean, England, Great Britain, Britannia rules the waves. We used to think of ourselves as being masters of the universe, but now I think most people look at some of the valuable things we do, and can see a big shift in social consciousness and awareness. So I think these shifts are possible. When they're boiling, they tend not to be that visible, and then suddenly they crystallize out and catalyze out. And a society like Sweden used to be a warlike society. Now it's regarded as one of the most pacifist societies and democratic societies in the world. So it's possible even for people who have, with good child rearing, when you start to raise your child without punishment, without arbitrary education, when a society shifts, suddenly that society becomes, just as if I'm at peace, I'm not a threat to you, whereas if I'm all riled up, I am a threat to you. If a society itself has been able to shift its emotional balance point, then suddenly it no longer is a threat to those around it. So on a global scale, it's possible for this to happen. And it's not just possible, it's essential. It's absolutely essential. We reach this point at which it's absolutely critical it happen, and it happened very, very soon.
For a further look into diffusing conflict, go to this interview at consciousmedianetwork.com.